guys, and I got a dear friend on the phone with me, a guy by the name of Ren Jones. And Ren Jones has been in the business for, man, Ren, you want me to tell him or no? You want me to just kind of leave that off the table there? A long time. So
6 months.
Here's the story. 6 months or something like that. No, I'm just kidding. You started yesterday, right?
Yeah.
All right, so Ren Jones has been in the business for over 20 years and has been conducting coaching calls with agents, 32,000 coaching calls to be exact. I was talking to Ren before we got started here, and what he's been doing the last 12 years, and I would highly recommend doing this. We're going to talk more about this later on, but Ren, for the last 12 years, has been flying around the U.S. and Canada, meeting with top agents just to find out what they do. He flies in, has dinner with them, asks them a couple questions, watch how they run their operation, and then he, of course, takes all the notes and says, okay. And we're going to talk more about if you just copied what someone else did, how you would maybe not have the exact same results, but have good results from it. So, Ren, I really appreciate you being here. I'm honored to be a part of your life, and I'm honored that you are here to help us and give value. And one of the things you stressed yesterday was you wanted to give something of value on this call, and I know you have a lot of good content. I want to talk a little bit about scripts. You gave me a script yesterday to use for expireds that I want to bring up and make sure we cover that. So, Ren, thanks for being here, man. And what do you got for us?
Thanks, Scott. I'm really grateful that you had mentioned at the end of this call we could do a little commercial, and while I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
My fundamental goal is not about that. I'd like to leave this call with a list of strategies, some ideas that agents can use in a strong market or a weak market that they can use immediately and really build their business. So, I'm here to contribute, here to make a difference, and see if at the end of this call everyone has a couple pages of notes of things that make sense to them in building their business. So you and I were chatting the other day about the fact that there's over 1 million agents in this business in the U.S., 1,000,001,
right.
1.1 or something like that, and that really only 10% of them are making most of the money. And a lot of people have what you'd call income spurts. They have a great summer, and then the fall they didn't sell anything. By January and February, things are a little tight, and then they have a big closing, and that goes on and on and on, and creates a lot of frustration. So yeah. There are some formulas here that really work, that can take that, add more consistency to the process.
Well, I like what you're going to share with us as far as what you've put together, and so yeah, there's a shameless bribe at the end because I appreciate you and what you've done, and you've taken what everybody else, top agents, have done and kind of put it all into one system, which I've used bits and pieces of other things that you have, but now you've brought it all together as one for agents, and I love what you've done, man.
Great. Well, appreciate that a lot. So, and I appreciate the fact that we get to show that to folks at the end. You remember that television show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yeah.
It was on television for several years. Maybe it's still on. I don't know. But, it's funny to watch. There are people in our industry, and several, that make pre-tax net income $1 million. Not just one time, but every year, their pre-tax net income is over $1 million. And when you look and study those folks, and I've spent a lot of time going around and seeing what they're doing and how they're doing it, spend time with them and ask a lot of questions. How do you make $1 million a year, every year? And it's exciting when you look at what they do. And really, they work with a lot of the fundamentals, because what I'm going to outline is not as sexy as some of the ideas that are out there. There are a lot of things that are marketed as, get rich quick, magic answer, try this formula. And while some of those magic answer formulas work, they may only work in a strong market or a weak market, or some of the time, or only in some markets. But if you look at teams all across the country, there's a commonality that they're all doing, that using the copycat principle, we can do it too and immediately build a wonderful business that makes the same amount of money in December as it does in July. And seriously, the same amount of money. A lot of people feel like they have to, just ride the wave, whatever the year brings up. Is it a good year? Is it a bad year? Is it, summer versus winter? If we're doing this thing right, we can really even out a lot of the ripples. So we can look at the formula first. You want to do that?
Absolutely,
put down
man.
three additional listings per month is 36 listings taken per year. Now, the trick question, 36 listings taken equals how many closed sales? How many closed sales? That's the trick question. 36 listings taken, and a lot of people are saying, well, I'd probably sell 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 or whatever it may be. Or in your market, maybe everything's selling, which is rare, but some places, some price ranges, some markets. So and also your skill at listing. So the formula we generally use in a normal market is 36 listings taken equals 36 closed sales.
Okay.
So it would be fun if there was an audience here, they would say, well, how can that be? So then when you look at it, when you take 36 listings, you will end up with 36 closings. Let's say only 2 out of 3 sell. So Scott, now we're at 24 closed sales. So where did the other 12 come from?
Past data, or like listings that you have where buyers called in maybe, or maybe past database, people referrals.
Yeah, and people will go on, and it's kind of fun. We play a little game like it's a family feud. What is the number one answer? What is the number one answer of where those 12 buyers come from? And people will say, my database, signed calls, internet leads, on and on and on. But at the end of the day, the answer is you sold 24 listings. 12 of those people have nowhere to live right now, and they need to be an immediate buyer.
Right on.
So it's a great 12 buyers because they are homeless. And as realtors, we want to help the homeless. We do. It's a very charitable thing to do, and we get paid to do it. So 36 closed sales times 5,000, I picked that number. I mean, is that a fair number for average commission from what you see?
I would say, yeah. 5,000, depending on where you're at. But yeah, let's use 5 for easy numbers.
Right, and some of the folks on this call go, my average is 12,000, and somebody else is 3,500.
California.
But it's a good number to make. So run your math. Run your math. So whether you sell 50 homes a year, 100, 150 right now, adding 36, no matter where you are, whether you only sold 10 last year, when you add 36 homes, you're going to be happy. No matter who it is on this call, they're going to be happy adding 36 closed. So that keeps it. So we're hitting a broad topic that everybody can agree with. By the way, Scott, I forgot to mention, if someone has a burning question, you're looking at this and you go, if they could type that into you, Scott might choose to introduce that into the conversation if it looks like it's related to the direction we're going here. Because a lot of times, if you're having a burning thought, a lot of the other people on this call may be having that same thought, and it could really help us. We could have a lot.
Yeah, and we're getting a couple people that say that they can't hear or they have trouble hearing. I would always, if you're on this call for the first time, there's an audio button. There's an audio drop-down that allows you to choose mic and speakers or telephone. I would highly recommend using the telephone and then dialing in on that number. And then it's one less thing, because if you're using your mic and speakers, I don't know why, but it's just you're fighting the internet, you're fighting voice over IP. It's always better. I always have a better hearing sensation with the telephone. So highly recommended to use the telephone when you call in. Just want to make that suggestion. So.
Yeah, I always notice the VoIP is at its worst right about this time of day. Right about as we get into this time of day. So good. So when you look at it, okay, so we look at 36 listings taken, which means that all you have to do, if all you had to do was take one listing in 10 days, could you do it? With what you've got going on now, could you, if you put your mind to it and thought about it, you could take one listing every 10 days. You wake up, Monday morning, you come in and you've got not the whole week, but you've got beyond the whole week to take one additional listing. Right. And that's the premise, because most people on this call would go, I think I could. Yeah. The problem is, of course, you have to go with something that's a repeatable and duplicatable process, because there are a lot of activities we can spend our time doing that might get you that listing in 10 days or it might not. But if we look at it in the idea that I've got to get that listing in 10 days. I've got 10 days to get the listing. So following your own inclinations, where would you go to get a listing in 10 days that you could count on getting? You know, some people say if they put a gun to your head and you had to get one, where would you go? So, you know, looking at it like, I have to get one in 10 days. Where would you go? So then there's some, you know, there's some obvious answers there. You know, you would go to people that have identified that they want to sell.
Right.
They're out there in the public. They say, I want to sell my home. So where do you find those folks? So when we look at it, of course, expired listings.
The expired listings, for sale by owners.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So we'll look at expired listings. When we see an expired listing come out, the largest number of them are back on the market 4 or 5 days later, many of them with a different agent.
Mm.
Okay. So all you have to do is get your fair share.
Right.
For sale by owners, you know, we all, you know, what we see with for sale by owners is a lot of people have a conversation in their mind about how they feel, what they think for sale by owners think. You know, they eat their young, they hate realtors, they don't have any money. I mean, I don't know. My grandmother was a for sale by owner. She didn't eat her young. She just didn't know any agents. She put a for sale, she went to the hardware and got a sign stuck in the yard and said, you know, and then finally agents started contacting her, and she listed with one of the first ones that came along, and it worked out very well. So it's interesting how few agents work that group, and then we see some that every month take 5 or 6 listings just from that category.
Right. You know what's funny about FSBOs is I think it's you probably know the number better than I do, but it's 80%, 80, 85, 86% of them go with a real estate agent after listing for sale by owner.
Right.
I don't know if it's,
exactly.
You know, so, yeah, and I think the reason, I mean, I've talked to a lot of my friends that are agents, and they're like, I just hate FSBOs. And I think if you, the reason they hate FSBOs is because they haven't practiced scripts to, when they do call them, what to say, how to say it. And one of the this is a little early in the call, but one of the scripts for the expireds, you know, and I don't know if you know, the people here have been on we did a flower pot strategy was a great one to market to expireds, market to FSBOs, give something of value, so that you're not just asking for the sale. You're saying, hey, here's how to market your home. Would love to interview for the position if you decide to market it again, which is to an expired or a FSBO. And one thing that I always talk about, Ren, on these calls is, like, it's not just one FSBO, it's not just one expired, it's one person who has 25 to 50 friends, family, and coworkers. I mean, so on speed dial, that if you built a deep relationship with them, they will call you, they will refer you, they will always think of you if you stay in front of them appropriately on an often type situation.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
The biggest source of our business, the best contact we can make, is our database. That is our past clients, people that are proven, and the other side of that coin is that we have a limited size in our database. You know, there's 2 groups of people, the people we know and the people we don't know. So in order to add 36 listings, I'm assuming that everyone on this call is doing a bang-up job with their database. They are contacting them in a variety of ways, and they are very close to their database. To add 36, I had to go outside of that to make that happen with expireds, for sale owners, probates, you know, contacting probate attorneys. Dead people have a home to sell. That's a great one.
Yeah.
Divorce. There are a lot of
divorce lawyers. Yeah, like, oh yeah, there's so many. Yeah, I guess you could make a big list. I never thought about divorce lawyers because there's usually 2 homes involved. Got to sell 2 and then buy, and then typically if you build a good relationship, you sell 2, sell 3.
Yeah, you sell 1 and buy 2.
Buy 2, sell 1 and buy 2, but times 2 though. So you sell 2 and then each one buys another one, right? Typically, eventually. So if you build that relationship, plus their friends, family, and coworkers. You know, Andrew already asked for it. He said, best verbal pitch for an expired listing. And you gave it to me last night, and I'm like, holy crap, that is by far the best one I've heard. And it's short and sweet and simple. What is that? What is that? If you call an expired listing, what is that one line you?
There are a lot of just shadowing people and collecting them forever because I sold real estate for a number of years, and my team would sell about 150 on average for a long, long time. And I wanted to collect every possible thing you could say to these people to make when you call them to make it very effective, make it fun. Because one of the reasons agents don't call expireds and for sale by owners is it's not fun for them because they're not sure what to say. The seller says this, and the agent's not sure how to come back and get a good conversation going. So, like, one of the things I think you and I talked about yesterday was there are very few phone messages you can leave if you get their voicemail where they would actually call you back. Yet what's interesting is an expired listing will get 20, 25 voice messages, of which rarely do they ever call one back. But there's a voicemail that you can leave. There are 2 or 3 actually, but one I like the most because is asking them if they are still accepting offers on the property. Mr. Seller, this is Bob Smith with blah blah Realty. I saw that the listing had finished in the MLS. I was curious, are you still accepting offers on the property? Here, let me give you my direct number, and you leave that number. They call you, and not only do they call back, but they're fine when you inform them that you just want to help them get the home sold. They don't get all mad that you don't have a buyer or anything like that. You weren't saying you had a buyer. You were asking if they're still accepting offers on the property.
Right.
And it's a great conversation. So when we are armed with a lot of different things we can say in a lot of different situations, it actually becomes fun. I know a lot of people, I did it for many years, a lot of people, they get on the phone for a couple hours every day, and at the end of the month, they've added, on top of what they get from their database, they're adding 8, 10, 12 listings a month from the larger group, the people they don't know, from these groups. And they have a lot of fun doing it because there isn't anything a seller can say that they don't have a great thing to say but right back. So it can be a lot of fun. One of the, I remember one time, there are a lot of things we learn and you use them, and then you forget about them. I remember I lost a listing, and I asked the seller why I lost the listing, and he said, well, I'm going with Mary because she specializes in homes that don't sell the first time. And I'm like, doggone it. I used that for years and forgot all about it. That one is old as dirt, but it works. I specialize in
That is funny. So she just says, I specialize in homes that didn't sell the first time.
Right. And people like that. They respond to that. It's been around forever. It is old, but it works.
Oh, my God.
Now, one of the key things, and there's a mile-long list of these things, and someone on the phone will take pause. One of the key things we need to, when we get in, early in the conversation, we have to make sure that the seller is, aware that you do things differently, very differently, because they think we all do the same thing. And if we can, in that conversation early, make the point that we do things very differently, or my team does things very differently, they're going to meet with you, or there's a good chance they'll meet with you because there's no other reason to meet with you except for the fact that maybe you have a different approach.
Yeah, so, do you have any other one-liners? Because, dude, like it's funny. A good buddy of mine, Carl White, who everybody I think knows on the call, he got beat out by one time where a guy, it was a mortgage guy, but he says, I specialize in doctor loans.
I love it. That's great.
Doctor loans. I specialize in listing homes for doctors. I mean, so I'm telling you, it's just like, it's just specialized, and who's going to dispute that you are an expert at listing doctors' homes? Who's going to dispute that?
I think it's a great idea. That's a great idea.
Isn't that? Yeah, he goes, doctor loans, that son of a gun, he got me on that one, I mean, it was just, there's no such thing as doctor loan. I mean, it's just he called it that. He won a doctor that was looking to get a loan, so.
Right, and maybe that is his niche, and it becomes his niche because he announces
it
so much.
And
it's an official niche. It's probably, a lot of his business. Just like, I specialize in waterfront. For those of you that are in resort areas, I specialize in waterfront. You tell people you specialize in that, they'll take pause and invite you over. So,
any other one-liners you can think of that that are like for, let's just say, how about for a FSBO? You got one for a FSBO?
Well, let me do a couple more expires, and then we can go into the physical thing. Like, so Scott, if I sold your home, okay, so you're chasing me off the phone. Just say if I sold your home and you had to move in the next few weeks, if you had to move in April, would that create any kind of a problem for you? If I sold your home in the next 30 days and you had to move beginning of April, would that create a problem for you, Scott?
So you would say this to an expired when you call them on the phone?
Yeah, it has to fit in the right place. Yeah,
sure.
Another one like
this. I'd be grateful, and I'm sure that we could find a place to go. I mean, obviously I need to buy a new home, but
great. Well, that's exactly why we need to meet, and that one's called the Objectivematic. When I go, that's exactly why we need to meet. No matter what they tell you, you just say that's exactly why we need to meet. Well, we're tired of having people come through. That's exactly why we need to meet. Well, whatever they tell you, you just that sentence fits every situation. Okay. One of the I had heard about one from a top agent, and I wrote it down. And I said I got to try this out. And I didn't get to try it out, but somebody I was coaching was running into this. They said, well, we've already listed with so and so or whatever, and what you do, and this works like 1 out of 6, you say, well, when can I schedule my interview? And so she tried it, and the guy started laughing and go, oh, you're good. All right, I'll give you a shot at that. How about tomorrow at 4? So when can I schedule my interview? They've told you they've relisted or whatever. You just say, when can I schedule my interview?
You know what's funny? I got one for you. I got one for you that I think works really good.
Great.
People, it's all about making people get out of their comfort zone or maybe stay in their comfort, whatever. They have a wall up. If you're an agent and you're calling expired or FSBO, they got a wall up, period, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I call it the bucket list strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So I call up and I go, Ren, hey, Ren, I see your home is for sale by owner. And, man, I tell you, I have it on my bucket list to help you in any way, shape I can to sell your home this year. I just started calling and see if we could get together. Hey, how many bedrooms do you have? How many baths? What are you asking for it? So it's on my bucket list. And people go, a lot of people go, you need to get a better bucket list.
You need a better bucket list. Right.
You need a better bucket list. That's what I hear all the time. It's so funny. I love that script. So, yeah.
You're getting their funny bone, and any way you can get their funny bone relaxes them. And
exactly.
then they think you're a real person, and then they invite you over. So that's awesome. So for everyone out there, write that one down. Collect that.
Right on.
Add that to your repertoire.
And then if you want to take it a step further, send them a bucket with listing their home or selling their home on the part of the real live bucket list with a bucket highlighted and in red, like sell your home in the next 30 days.
Yeah.
I mean, you could literally hand deliver it.
This person's
you could hand deliver it. Yeah.
Troy Jones,
thanks for joining us, man. I appreciate you, brother. Thanks for being here today. Everybody loves the one-liners, so just want to tell you that, Ren, for later purposes.
Good. Great. So let's do a couple more one-liners. Actually, this one's a long-liner, but if this is recorded, they can play it later. It goes something like this. So, Scott, tell you what, I don't mind doing this, Scott. I can come out, take a look at your home, tell you how much it will bring in today's market, how long it will take, and just exactly what it is my team has been doing to sell so many homes here in Maple Grove. And then you guys decide what's best for yourselves. How does that sound? Okay. Now, at that point, you're probably going to give me some pushback, like, we're talking,
No, I'm going to do it myself, or hey, I'm not, whatever, blah, blah.
Scott, when we meet, if none of this makes any sense to you after 10 or 12 minutes, I'll just shake your hand and be on my way. So how about 4 o'clock tomorrow? Does that work for you? 4 o'clock?
Okay.
You're reducing it to the ridiculous.
Yeah, right.
We're reducing it to the ridiculous. They're saying, if it doesn't make any sense after 10 or 12 minutes, I'll just shake your hand and be on my way. And then you close again. 4 o'clock? 4 o'clock? That works so well.
What about, have you ever heard of this one where you actually go, hey, if I show up and don't show you why you should use me to market your home, I'll give you a $50 gift certificate to anywhere you want. Does that work?
I like it.
Is that worth it?
That would work.
Right. Getting the appointment, because really what it boils down to is getting the appointment. You have to be referable right? You have to be a likable person. You have to have a personality. Everybody on that call has that. But if you go, if I come tomorrow and I show you why you should use me to market your home and sell your home fast, and you don't get any benefit whatsoever, you say, you know what, you wasted my time, I'll give you a $50 gift certificate to anywhere you want in town.
Well, I'll tell you, it's very respectful of the seller, that's for darn sure.
Exactly. I know.
Yeah.
And they'll appreciate that. You're respecting their time, right?
A lot of agents get snagged on the commission piece. Well, how much do you charge? And it's a great, I've been I was seeking forever the perfect answer. And a great gal, Pam Jones, up in Northern Virginia, had the perfect answer to that one. It was perfect. It was so ask me, how much do you charge?
How much do you charge?
Well, Scott, that depends on the condition of your home, the price we set on your home, and how competitive you want to be with the cooperating agents in the marketplace. And we'll go over all that when we get together on Thursday. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Okay, great. Nobody will fight you on that.
Right. Can you repeat that one? Can you repeat that one again?
Yeah, certainly. Go ahead and ask the question.
Robin. So this is for an expired listing, right?
Pardon? When they ask about how much do you charge for sale by owners?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. How much? Hey, Ren, how much do you charge?
Great, Scott. That depends on the condition of your home, the price we set on your home, and how competitive you want to be with the cooperating agents in the marketplace. And we can go over all that when we get together on Thursday.
Perfect. Cooperating agents. Yeah. All right. Sounds good.
And that works like a charm. It gets like that thing off the table. Because if you deflect it and go, well, we'll be the first thing we talk about, that's one thing. But then they're like, well, why don't they just give me a straight answer? But if you have all these pieces, and it's all true, everything in there. If the condition of the home is not there, they don't want to be that competitive with the cooperating agents. If the price isn't realistic, then you're probably going to charge a little bit more on a commission. So it's all, it's all straight. It's all very straight up. So I like this one a lot. Scott, honestly, what's your hesitation to meet with a highly productive team such as ours, or a highly productive company, or however you want to say it? What's your hesitation to meet with a highly productive team such as ours?
Well, my home just expired. It didn't sell. I didn't get any cooperation. I didn't get communicated with. I didn't have anybody look at my home. I'm just a little disappointed right now.
Wow. You don't deserve that. Scott, you don't.
You're right, I don't.
Let's do this.
I just want to sell my home. I just want someone that can help me out.
I don't mind doing this, Scott. I can come out, take a look at the home, tell you how much it will bring in today's market, how long it will take, and just exactly what it is our team has been doing to sell so many of the homes here around you in Maple Grove. And then you guys decide what's best for yourselves. How's that sound?
There you go. Put it back on them.
Right,
Love it.
Right, exactly. So we take that around the block. Let's, for sale by owners, okay?
For sale by owners, okay.
So if we look at for sale by owners, one of the challenges with both expireds and for sale by owners is, as an agent, sometimes we're not using dialogues to always 100% of the time, early in the conversation, find out where they're moving to and when they need to be there. Which I always think is, I always scratch my head and go, why? Because a lot of times, a lot of people don't have a really strong motivation to sell, but some do. And for us as agents, if we're getting in there and having a conversation with an expired or for sale by owner, we need to find out, do they have to sell? And do they need to sell quickly, whether it's expired or for sale by owner? So early in the script, there was a 4-question script I liked. It was very simple. But what it would do is it would allow you to throw about 80-85% of your leads in the trash and concentrate on the other 15%. So you talk to 20 for sale by owners, and you're only going to keep 3 of them, and then go after those 3, throw the other 17 in the trash because the motivation was weak. And the odds of getting a listing and getting it quickly are high. So here are the 4 parts, okay? So I would call, in fact, let me role play it, Scott.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so, I'm calling you up, and I'm going to ask you, just say, Ren Jones with blah, blah, Realty. I was wondering, Scott, how long is do you mind if I ask you a couple questions about the property?
Absolutely.
You guys sell real estate.
Yeah,
Great.
I just listed it for sale by owner, and that's what I'm going to do. So.
Great, great. How long have you been on the market?
It's only been on for 3 days.
You've only been on for 3 days?
Oh, yeah, I just put the sign up over the weekend on Saturday.
Nice, nice, nice. Where are you moving to? Are we going to lose you in the town here, or are you just staying here?
No, I just need a bigger place. It's time for me to move up.
Oh, you need a bigger place. Okay, so it's time for you to move up, just something a little nicer in the immediate area. Okay, great.
Yep.
How soon do you want that to happen? How soon do you need to be in that next house?
I'm not really in a big hurry. I just thought I'd put a feel out there, get my sign out, put a feel for any activity that's going on, and of course, I figured I'd have a couple agents call me and kind of maybe get some information.
Great. Well, one of the things that you're right in the middle of where my team sells a lot of property. Who knows? It may be us bringing you an offer. Very good chance of that. Now, so you a little nicer home, but you've got some time to work with, is what you're saying. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, I do. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. No hurry.
Great.
We're good here.
If you exhaust your efforts in doing it on your own, are you open to using an agent at some point in time?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I obviously want to sell, so yeah. I mean, if I need help, great. I'm hoping to sell by myself, though.
Okay. All right. How long are you going to give it yourself?
I'm just really trying to get the most amount of money for my home that I possibly can. That's why I thought I'd try and sell it by order to try and save from having to pay the realtor, the real estate commission.
Yeah, who could blame you?
Exactly.
Okay, good. So here's the thing. What I'm listening for, and I'm not going to, and there are a lot of things I could say there to try to convince you.
Sure, I know. I opened the door for you.
Scott is not my candidate. Scott is not my candidate, okay, because I'm looking for, and the first thing I asked him, how long it's on the market. That's just a rapport builder. The second question is, where are you moving to? I'm looking for, is this a serious move? Does he need to sell is the question. So in parentheses put, does Scott need to sell? Or want to very badly? And I put a no down there. It's a move up. And how soon does he need to be there? And I'm listed was the next question. And my question to myself is, does he need to be there quickly? And that was a clear no, okay?
Right.
And then at the end, is he open to using an agent? Yes, but I'm looking for 3 yeses. So in Scott's case, using this formula, I would throw that in the trash.
Okay.
Because I don't detect that, and honestly, if they have to move and they have to move quickly, do they need the services of a real estate agent?
No, they don't. I mean, they should, but they don't.
I know, but they don't think they do, but they do.
They don't think they do. They should, but they don't. I mean, just for security, and there's all kinds of different reasons why they should. But in their minds, they think it's all about the money right now.
Right. But at some point in time, if they have to, they're being transferred, or if this is a burning thing at desire and they really, really want it to happen, they will, after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they will grab an agent. So if I can get 3 yeses out of you, where are you moving to? Does he need to be there or want to? Strong desire. If that's a yes,
gotta move.
And you need to do it soon, quickly, if that's a yes, and they're open to using an agent, and that's a yes, then I would keep that lead, because I'm better off to let the other 17 leads go and work on those 3, because I'll probably list all 3. Okay, it's a great filter.
Right.
So one of the things you can do is do a little preview appointment with a for sale owner, but only if they meet your criteria. Do they need to sell, and do they need to sell quickly? If they do a preview appointment. Get in front of them. One of the strategies that agents will use is that they'll talk to every single for sale owner that pops up in their area. Okay, and out of those, they will select 1 out of 6 and meet with them, because those 1 out of 6 have to sell and have to sell quickly. It's a good use of their time. And they're probably going to list that property.
Right on. Let's talk about, just to save some time, because I want to make sure and share what you're doing to provide leads for people, because I posted, you didn't know this because you're not part of the group, but I posted how last night you set me up at 3:35 p.m. You set me up with your system. And by 5:01 a.m. this morning, I had 12 leads in there, and I want to make sure and get to that and answer any questions they might have and show them why I have those leads sitting there. So, pretty impressive.
Yeah, I know. Our folks work overnight. Yeah.
Dude, it's like, I'm like, really? I got that email when I woke up, and I'm like, oh my God, this is insane. So, tracking the numbers that run your business, You want to talk a little bit about this, and then we'll talk about mastery,
Sure.
and then we'll get into what you.
Okay, so the premise is where performance is measured, performance is gained. Where performance is measured, performance is gained. I mean, play golf and don't keep score. Are you really going to improve your game? Or are you going to even know that you've improved your game? Yet in our industry, we don't track numbers very well. But of any solid business tracks numbers. If you're a Marriott, you have to know how many rooms you booked last night, at what rates. You have to know how many meals were served in the restaurant, what the cost of food was and the cost of labor, and the gross receipts. Same thing with the bar. We have to daily track those numbers. And where this really pays off for the folks on this call is if we are tracking those specific numbers daily, weekly, and then every month, totaling them, then there's a batting average there. For example, in our business, we would track contacts. Now, contact is a contact, not an attempt, not where you dialed them up and they didn't answer. That's not a contact. That's an attempt. But you can track contacts, listing appointments, listings taken, listings sold, and we want to look at the ratios between listing appointments, listings taken, listings sold. That ratio needs to be at 75% roughly. That you take 75% of the ones that you go on, you sell 75% of the ones you take. You want to get your batting average up there, and why?
You got to get the percentage going, because we talk about the 4 parts to every sale, and where's your bottleneck? And every company on planet Earth has a bottleneck. So is it traffic? Is it relationships? How they feel about you? Is it call to action, or is it follow up? And you have it. So everybody, I don't care who you are, Bill Gates, Donald Trump, everybody has a bottleneck. You just got to find out where it is. Some are much smaller than others or bigger than others, however you want to look at it. But everybody has one. Do you have traffic coming in? When you do get the traffic, when you do have the leads, how do they feel about you? Do you have a call to action every time you talk to somebody? Are you trying to get more referrals from their friends, family, and coworkers? Are you trying to get them to list? Are you trying to get them to buy? Are you trying to, what is it? And then the follow-up. Are you following up? Because they say, what is the number? 87% of the people say that they would use the same agent again, but only 7% actually do.
Yeah. It's a very small number that do. They say they would, but then we don't talk to them anymore.
Right.
So when you're tracking those numbers and you're talking about conversion, you're measuring conversion. You get 100 leads come in and you convert 3% or 4%, which is normal. In the buyer leads. I mean, Zillow sells those same leads over and over and over and over and over and over again. But they have a lot of fun because most agents don't even call them. But tracking those numbers, because when we track it and it's staring at us, we're going to take a different type of action if we're looking at those numbers. Let's say, for example, if we track numbers and we know that every 112 contacts we have a closing.
Yeah.
If we know that, we can plan exactly that $180,000 increase in our income. We can plan it. We have to start tracking now to figure out the batting average. Yeah?
Yeah, it's funny you say 112 because we say about every 100. We get one per month from every 100.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Minimum.
So
minimum.
It's a great yardstick. And one person's numbers are very different than another person's numbers. So we have to start tracking our numbers knowing that the value of that will be very great after a while, because then we can see what our batting average is, and we can continue to improve the batting average. But if we don't measure,
right, you never know. You never know where you're at, right?
Right, exactly. We're playing golf, but we're not keeping score, and we're going, man, in our own mind, we are really good. In our own mind, we are amazing, because we won't write it down.
The accountability part, man, I would highly recommend, and we're going to talk about mastery a little bit on the next slide, and then we'll get into the lead management thing. But accountability, are you talking about finding someone to hold you accountable, or a coaching kind of group, or are you talking about
all that? Yes,
all that. Yeah, so
right.
Somebody
in fact, honestly, it can be your children. If mommy takes this many listings or makes these calls or whatever, then we get to, this summer, kids, we get to go to to wherever. Okay, you can put it where you're really going to feel it. So that, kids can be your accountability. It's a great tool. Put it on a little bulletin board.
One thing that works really well that we've done is if I say I want to accomplish something in 30 days. Whether it's calling all of my database, or whether it's doing something to better my life or my business. Doesn't necessarily have to be more money, doesn't have to be more leads, doesn't have to be any of that, whatever it is. But if you want to be held accountable, we write each other checks. So like I'd write a check to Ren for $1,000 and say, okay, in 30 days, this is what I'm going to accomplish. Make sure it's achievable, not unrealistic, and achievable. And then if I don't do it, Ren, you get to cash that check, and you do the same for me. What are you going to accomplish? And go back and forth.
You really want to take that up a threshold. Take it up a threshold. Write a check to somebody you do not like.
Yeah, I know, that's even worse. And then you have to give it to them.
To their charity, to the charity of their favorite charity of their choice. You know, an ex, competitor, whatever. You know, because it will motivate you for them not to get that check. So,
right. Cool. All right,
another guy. What he does?
Let's talk about mastery.
Okay, I got one more thought on that because it's so much fun. There's this one guy. He takes a little wire and puts it across his office, and he hangs $3,100 bills on it, and it represents, because he makes a lot of money. He'll talk to 30 people every day, and every time he speaks to someone, he pulls down a $100 bill, and he tells his assistant that at lunchtime when he goes out for lunch, if there are any extra $100 bills, that they can have them. Which prevents, that way he absolutely makes 30 contacts.
No, that is great.
Yes.
So he hangs up $30 $100 bills and he says, I got to call 30 people today.
Yeah.
And every time he calls one, he pulls down 100. Any left you guys get to have.
Yeah. The staff, anybody there can come in and take any leftover, so he makes sure there's none left over, because it could get very expensive if he doesn't make those calls. So accountability like that, accountability with other people. You know what, the most fun is really to have accountability with people that are doing what you're doing in your time zone but not in your market. They are making $500,000 or $800,000 or wherever they are in their business, and they're doing what you're doing every morning. And to have them as accountability partners is great, because they're moving and shaking, making things happen, and you are too. Because sometimes our peers in our office are not as strong as we become over time, and it's important to broaden the accountability to that, you know, to a larger group of people, even if they're not there physically.
Right. Right on.
Okay.
So this mastery, where it says a business that seems to run itself, which I kind of added a little bit to it as far as the reduce, eliminate, automate, and delegate. And I've shared this before, and I highly recommend it. And we talk about it. You know, you talked about it, kind of how if it only runs itself most of the time. And I'm not trying to be mean by saying this, but if you get out of the way, you only focus on what you truly love to do, and it gets you up in the morning, keeps you up at night. And then you reduce, eliminate, automate, or delegate the rest. I would highly recommend writing this down and go, okay, what do I love to do?
Yes.
I hate doing this.
As a rainmaker, we have to look at the parts we like to do, because we're going to be inclined to do it. And maybe some things we have to do either way. We certainly want to follow our strong suits and go after, as a rainmaker, what are, where can you know, like we were talking the other day about our database, past clients at Sphere. There are a lot of rainmakers that loathe talking to those folks. But if if they take a sliver of them, if they take, you know, like 15, 20 people in the database that are their best clients, and they talk to that group, well, all of a sudden now it becomes fun.
Right.
Because that group makes things happen, and you have an amazing relationship, and then you have someone else in the team working the other group. So,
well, I mean, one example I shared with you is like I met with an agent that says, man, I have all my leads from, here's 90-day leads, here's 120-day leads, here's 6-month leads, 12-month leads, and obviously the 12-month leads and the 6-month leads and the 90-day leads don't get any attention. I'm like, well, bottom line is you're never going to contact those leads because you don't feel they're hot anymore, and maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But and he goes, yeah, you know what really hurts though is when that 6-month lead or 12-month lead calls me and goes, hey, I found a home I'm ready to buy. And it's shame on me that, you know, thank God he called me or she called me, but I'm like, the bottom line is you're never going to do it. You're never going to follow up with those people. So is there anybody in your office that can do that for you?
There you go.
Like
delegation, you know, the leverage of delegating,
Yeah,
and then putting systems in place. And then having the systems in place so that you're consistently doing that. And it's not just a single thought that you're going to do.
Right.
The rate, you know, when I put in there that the business seems to run itself, you have you have to have the queen bee or the leader, the visionary. When everybody was worried when Steve Jobs left, because he was the visionary that everybody looked to when he was with Apple, and then he left Apple, and they almost went out of business, and then he came back. The visionary is a key piece. So while we think the business can run itself, it can, but it can't. People, it's just human nature. They want to be part of something, and we're holding that container. And if you're the visionary, that's all you have to do is keep them excited with the same excitement that you used to build this business.
Right.
Be
Right.
Steve Jobs for your team. And I mean, it's not work; it's fun at that point because you're the visionary.
Correct. All right, man. Let's get into this product that you like. After I don't know who, if it was you or who or whatever, but so Ren, as a shameless bribe, he shared this system with me, and I shared it on the Agent Mastermind Facebook group. Everybody is always asking for more leads, FSBOs, expireds. But the other class that we did a while ago, and Glenn or Ren, this is awesome that you did this. You guys remember Phone Burner? So Phone Burner is a system where you can automatically click the go button, record one message, and if you get a voicemail, it automatically leaves this message. Well, Ren goes, you know what, why don't we tie all this stuff together? Why don't we go out, get the expireds, go out, get the FSBOs, and give them a CRM system, and correct me if I say any of this wrong, a CRM system, a contact management system, a dialer, all in one system. So you want to kind of go over, this is the, and I'll talk just for a second. So he set me up with this yesterday at 3:35, and you guys can see the email. It's 3:35 p.m. yesterday. Because I said, hey, man, I'd really like to see the, and guys, don't go to Espresso Agent. He has an amazing deal for you guys if you want to try it out for 60 days. So don't go there yet. It'll cost you some money. So I received this email at 3:35 p.m. Eastern. The next day, it was 5:01 a.m. It says, hey, Scott, you have 12, and I sent it up under one of my agent friends, and I just got the email. So it's 12. You have 12 new leads in your system, and we'll go in and show you what I'm talking about. So what it looks like on the inside, and this is pretty cool, and we can go live with this, or we can kind of talk about each one, but you have a home button, which is your home, and it has your contacts button where your contacts are in, and then it has the dialer. Do you want to cover? Like I don't even know where to start.
And for whatever reason, I can't see the screen because.
Oh, you can't see the screen?
Yeah, normally, but it just decided to give me a hiccup. So I'm just going to have to hold it in my mind's eye and figure out where you are with it. But yeah, I mean, the whole idea is the software brings a lot of things together, and we wanted to do this at a price that was very, very economical because if there's a great value and we keep the cost way, way, way low, then people are going to get excited about it. So we took you have to to build a business, you have to have a contact manager, and you have to have all the tools there. So if every morning, 364 days a year, because we don't do it on Christmas Day, but even every other major holiday, we're pushing in expireds and for sale by owners. Normally, we guarantee by 7 a.m., but many of them are there at 5 or 6 a.m. And people say, well, we want cell phone numbers, and so we push in cell phone numbers with expireds because that helps. And then a tracking system and automated voicemails that you can drop, and a lot of other products. And because 85% of real estate people tend to use Gmail, or they use Gmail as the backbone for their email system, we made it as a easy integration to Gmail, so you can use your Gmail, a calendar system, and a product called Text to Sell, which many of you have seen this, where you have a rider on your house, or it can be in a magazine or something like that, or on the internet where it says, text home 39 to 22422, and they get a feature sheet. We grab the phone number and put it into your CRM, into your dialer, so you can call those people because obviously they're looking for a home. We chose the text feature versus QR code or the old 800 number system because that is the most efficient. Somebody driving down the road, let's say it's the passenger, text that little number while the car's still moving. Can't do that with QR code. They get that feature sheet just like that in seconds. And so that's a great little tool to pick up additional business. So, and that comes with it as well.
So I got up on the screen, I just went live with this thing, and over on the left-hand side it says expired listings, corporate-owned, expired no phone, relisted, and then my contacts, sphere of influence, my sellers, my buyers. So what I'm seeing here is I could have this for every lead, both pre and post. I could have it for new buyers, new sellers. I could have it for leads. I could have it for it automatically is going to pull in expireds.
Yeah.
It's going to pull in.
But you can put your entire database in there, all your past clients, sphere of influence, because you're able to. And what several of our clients do is they'll put their active listings and their pendings in because say they carry 35 listings. You know, to call 35 listings by hand every week, I'm going to call you every week. That's a lot of work to have the dialer do it for you, and their assistant uses it for their pendings to call through all the pendings. And actually they, as well, if you call a pending, I mean, talk about your best source of business. How many pendings send us business without us even asking? They are so happy.
Exactly. Yeah. Particular activator. That's all they're thinking about. Yep.
That's it. That's why pending is the #1 contact you can make is a pending for asking for, coming in contribution. Who else can we help? Who else can we help?
Does Expresso work in Canada, Vancouver?
Yes. The only difference is in Canada, the expireds are not available except in the province of Quebec, but we don't have French yet. But in the rest of the province, there's a thing called the Privacy Act, which prohibits us from providing that service there. But the dialer, the for sale owners, the text to sell, all that's available. Yes.
Okay. So guys, this is a complete system. What Ren has done, and I sincerely appreciate this, is, let's see what else I got. I got the tool section, so it has a broadcast tool, email campaigns, emails and scripts. There's a task list if you want to use it. So what Ren has done, just to kind of finish up here, and I appreciate you doing this, let me just go to Tools, Slideshow from Craig. So if you want to try this out for 60 days, you get complete, full-blown system, nothing held back for the, and we're going to talk about the different levels here in just a second. So for the full version for 60 days, it's if you use the code ANIMALS, we used ANIMALS, it'll give you the 60 days for, what is it, $49?
Yes.
$49.
So about $25. About $25 a month for 2 months. We want to try them to try out the full version, and then if they want to change it from there or prior to that, they're welcome to.
Correct. So use the code ANIMALS to try it out. The different levels that he has. These are the different. You want to talk about the communicator, the latte, and the vanilla. The vanilla latte.
Yeah, the communicator has everything. Unlimited phone dialer, voicemail dropping system, contact manager, daily for sale owners, and daily expires with cell phone numbers, text to sell, and all types of campaigns that you can set up, plus Gmail integration. The latte is everything except there's no data coming in. You don't have for sale owners and expireds. You still have campaigns and text and a phone dialer. And sometimes people want just a dialer with a great, robust CRM. And then vanilla latte is the CRM, the contact manager. So
so it gives you a contact management with it. Can you email from the system?
Yeah, emailing from the system. Yeah, everything except for data and dialing, except for expired sale owner data and also power dialing. I make one comment on the power dialer because it's very interesting. A lot of people will try it for about 3 minutes and then go, whoa, they feel like they're on one of those, down in Texas where they have those bulls on the bar and you're on that and it's trying to throw you off. It feels like that. Because it goes fast. You're talking to someone, and you say goodbye, and the next phone's ringing, and the next person's saying hello, and it's a little faster than we're used to. But there is a thing called pause, P-A-U-S-E, and if you click pause, you can catch a breath, take a note, but then get used to it. And what happens is when people really get comfortable with it, what they find is it's a great use of time. They'll get on the phone for 45 minutes and touch as many people as they would in 3 hours. So all I would say is growth comes from being uncomfortable. Be uncomfortable for a day or so. Get used to the dialer.
Yeah, because we typically get through we've had the people that use this type of system get through about 60 per hour, because you still record the message, right? You get a voicemail, you leave the message, right?
Right. And if you look at
so
the
you record one
message.
You don't have to leave the message every single time. You record one message. When you get a voicemail, you push voicemail, and I don't know, you push something, and it leaves a voicemail, and you're on to the next one. And it's amazing how many people you can connect, engage with, especially if you're talking to expireds. Hey, just wonder if you're accepting new offers on your home. If you're still accepting offers on your home, give me a call back if you are. Look forward to talking to you soon. Boom, that's the message for expireds. You got one for physical,
if you look at the background,
database, whatever,
If you look in the background, because not everybody's answering their phone. The first one doesn't, the second one doesn't, the third one doesn't, and the fourth one you're having a conversation. While you're having a conversation, those three other lines are in various stages of getting the voicemail. Okay, so you click it, go on to the next, click it, go on to the next, click it, go on to the next, and it's a great use of time. You're in a live call while three separate voicemails are being left. I mean, it's
pretty cool. Here's some questions coming in, Ren. Where are the leads coming from? They come from the expireds come from the MLS, right? Because it's hooked up to your MLS.
Right, and you have to be a member of your MLS in order to have that. For sale come from about 12,000 different sources because they show up everywhere. So that's a lot of work. That's a labor of love. But we pull them together.
I'm sure. Okay. Internet, so the internet. Okay. DNS scrubbed. DNC. You do not disturb.
Well, you have a choice to click and do that. Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Are these pulling from the MLS? Yes. What do you mean by reaching out to pendings or own?
Well, that's a great question. And pendings give us more business than anybody else. If you call up, the longer version of that script is, let's say you go under contract with someone, just saying, now that this house is under contract, Roger on our team is our closing manager. He's the best in the business. He's going to take you from pen to close. I'm going to call you every week to make sure Roger and our team is taking good care of you. Also, when I call, I'm going to ask you who else we can help, because here's the thing. Now that you've sold this home, other people are going to hear that you sold the home, and it will remind them, and they'll be talking about people with other moving plans. Would you be willing to share those people with me when people tell you about people that are moving? Sure, great. Just say, okay, and then you call every week. I just want to make sure Roger and the rest of our team are taking good care of you. Yes, they are. Yeah. Do you have any questions? Yeah, I was wondering when the appraisal, has appraisal been done? Hold on, let me write that down. Where can Roger call you back in the next hour or two with that answer? Great. Now, who else do you know that we can help? Either buy a home or sell a home or perhaps buy some investment property. Well, and then after 6 weeks, you call, from pen to close is what, 6 weeks roughly? You train that person. Yeah, every week you're calling them for 5-6 weeks from pen to close. They know what you're interested in. You would like a referral. And by bringing that up each time you call, plus they're impressed that you are staying in touch with them every week. So they not only have Roger as their point of contact from pen to close, but they have you coming behind, talking to them personally every week. And, pending business is your best. It is your best source of business. It really is.
It is. Hey, Troy asked a good question. Can an owner of like a brokerage firm, does each person need their own account, or can he get the leads and distribute them, or work the leads and give them out, or how would you recommend somebody do that?
Yeah, the only problem we have with that is, every once in a while we get a very well-meaning broker or office manager that wants to, they've got 300 agents that would like to have a transaction and then buy a single subscription and then pass around the office. So we don't really have a program for that, but we would like to chat with them and see what we can work.
Sure. Can you query fast? Okay. So you get it for 60 days for $49. It's just a trial, like it's a full-blown, you get everything for the next 2 months. Yeah, and so I guess, and then we should probably have a class on follow-up. I'll probably do one very soon about what do you say when you do get the leads. How we covered some scripts here, but that would be...
Yeah, we just touched on that, but we could really blow that up.
Yeah. Can contacts be imported? Yeah, can contacts be imported?
Yes.
Typically, somebody's asking, can contacts be imported from Top Producer? Anything that you have as a CRM, as a database management, email source, wherever you have your leads at, as long as they have an export button, I'm sure that this one
Yeah.
has an import button. Is it CSV or CSV?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Right. Yeah, we make it simple. We even help people out if they're struggling with it.
Okay.
Because some people are like, I'm trying to import my this and that, and we help them out because we do it all day long. So make it easy for you.
Here's Cindy. Cindy's asking. Thanks for being here, Cindy. Is this for all areas in the U.S., Iowa, and Omaha?
Yes, it is.
All right.
And Hawaii.
Does it integrate with Top Producer by chance?
We will be developing a one button for that, but we don't have a single button. But we'll help them get that done.
Can we hook up several MLS if they service your area? So can they do more than one MLS?
More than one MLS, yes. Yeah,
Okay.
we can work with them on that. Yeah.
Yolanda's saying this is so cool, so I got to agree with you, man.
Thank you, Yolanda.
I've seen the 12 leads this morning. Yeah, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Can you import Top Producer? Yes. So anything you can export, and again, the Ren's company will help you with that. They'll help you if you have an issue exporting, importing. They'll make sure that they help you out with that. They said they've done that.
Make it real smooth.
Seems like it could replace RedX. I don't know. You know, there's a ton of systems out there, guys, and like I like to bring value to this Agent Mastermind thing, and so I always, to get people like Ren on the call, I'm like, hey, you know, come on, give something of value, and then, hey, just do a shameless bribe to show what you got. It's just a way to show what's out there. There's a million different CRMs, whether it's this one or RedX or whatever you want. He just puts it all into one, and it is affordable. RedX is similar. It does get FSBOs and expires and all that stuff. It just doesn't have the dialer, so now you got to go get the dialer, and you got to export the leads, import the leads, and so unless I'm mistaken, I don't know, but it's just nice to have everything in one, to where if you want to call your past database, you want to call expired, you want to call FSBOs, you want to call whoever you want to call, it's there. You just record the message and hit go, and it's really smooth. So awesome job on that.
Yeah, we have a lot of respect for our competitors. They make us strong.
Hey, here's a good question by Monica, and we'll finish with this one. Is the dialer set up on your cell phone? What I think she's saying is, you can. Isn't it voice over IP where you can actually go in and have it call from any phone?
Yeah, and really, unfortunately, VoIP can be hit or miss. So dialers that run on VoIP are choppy. You dial in with any phone to any computer. You can sit at a picnic table with your tablet or your laptop and your cell phone and dial in. You're not hooking it up. You're dialing into a single number, but we run copper and fiber and not VoIP because nothing worse than being on a sales call and having one side of the conversation drop out for 10 seconds. So it's very important that every call is crisp and perfect. So if that helps them understand it. The biggest thing people have to get used to when using a dialer is not to hang up, because they're dialing in one time to the system. And the normal behavior is when you're finishing a call is to hang up, but you can't.
Right. I know, that's the best part about it. You can't hang up. Somebody says, is this a competitor of Top Producer? No, I think it's totally different. Top Producer is more of a CRM. I think it's a replacement, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what your opinion is.
It depends what you're using Top Producer for. You know, with a lot of respect, they have some very comprehensive,
great products. Yeah.
From pen to close that are so refined that I would hesitate to go there. You know, maybe next year, but we're not. We don't have the level of campaigns, action plans, or whatever they call them. In there that, Top Producer's been around for 20 years and has really honed that thing, so I hesitate to go there.
Cool. All right. So, yeah, they're all great products. They're just a little bit different as far as the use.
Do
you have a video showing how the system works?
I think there's, because people are going to want to know that. So on the sports side, there's a little click-and-play videos so they can, and, you know, if we have to walk somebody through on the phone, because we all learn at a different rate, so we're happy to spend time with people.
Perfect. And, oh, shoot, I lost it. There was a great question. I lost it. I guess that's that, Ren. There's a lot of the repetitive comment. So the exact website for the software, I should probably give that, huh?
Yeah, espressoagent.com.
Yeah,
or if you misspell it and put an X in there, there's no X, but, Agent.com.
Agent.com. So Espresso, ESPRESSO, right?
Agent. Yeah, if you misspell it, it'll still get you there. So.
Okay. EspressoAgent.com is where you want to go for that. So that is where you want to go to try it out. And guys, whether it's this system or whatever system you decide to go with, just pick one. I can't stress how important it is to call your past database, stay in front of your current leads, connect, engage, and interact with them like never before, because there's just, I don't know, when they're looking at homes, even if it's 12 months in advance, guys, they know people who are buying right now. So connect, engage, go deep, stay in front of them. We had a Farming Your Database class. We'll have to do it again soon because it's been, I think, a year where we go over that. But whether it's this system or any other system, Ren and I both want you to do better, have a better career, have more closings. And to do that, you have to communicate, engage, and interact with your database, and then figure out where your bottleneck is, and let's focus on that, and then go from there. So, Ben, I appreciate you being on the call. And what's that?
I said it's a contact sport, real estate.
Okay, a contact sport for sure, All right, so thanks so much, Ren. Appreciate being here. Honored to be a part of your lives. If you've joined us for the first time and you're not part of our Facebook group, it's facebook.com/groups/Agent Mastermind. And Ren, I'll make you, we'll have to friend each other on Facebook so I can make you part of that. If anybody has any questions, you can hang out there with us, and I appreciate that, man.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Thank you, Scott.
All right, thanks so much. We'll see you here same time, same place next week on Agent Mastermind. Everybody have a safe, exciting, and prosperous rest of the week. Take care, everybody.